بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. O Allah, we ask you to teach us what benefit us and let us benefit from what we learn and increase our knowledge. And help us practice what we learn. This is lesson number, halaqah number 43, alhamdulillah, in the series of halaqahs knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And today, inshallah, we are going to learn about one of Allah's name and one of Allah's character, Al-Ghani. Al-Ghani, several translations into English: the rich, the independent, the all self-sufficient. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran Kareem, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وَرَبُّكَ الْغَنِيُّ ذُو الرَّحْمَةِ. And your God is the rich, the independent, the self-sufficient, and the one with the mercy. Now, of course, the meaning of this name for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in English, the rich and the independent doesn't really give it all the credit. So we're gonna, inshallah, go through the meanings of this name. Al-Ghani, the rich, the independent, the self-sufficient. He is free from all needs. He does not need anybody. And he does not need anything. He does not need anybody, and he does not need anything. Everything, human, galaxies, plants, animals, everything needs him for everything. You need to think about what I'm saying. He does not need anything. He does not need anybody. Everything in this universe needs him for everything. So he does not need us, he does not need his angel, he does not need fuel to keep running, he does not need anything or anybody. And everything in this universe, us, animals, plants, galaxies, sun, moon, needs Allah for everything. Every atom you breathe in and out, we need that, and it's provided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Ghani, the rich, the independent, the self-sufficient. There is nothing or somebody out there that does not need Allah for everything. Not for some things, for everything. To sustain your life, you need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to sustain everything in this universe, you need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His power. He is self-sufficient, completely. Absolute independence from anything or anybody. He does not need anybody or anything in any time, in any place, in any form. Before, during, and after. Because everything in this universe run by the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-Ghani, the self-sufficient, he does not need a partner. He does not need a son. He does not need a daughter. He does not need his angels to perform duties or jobs for him. There's no associate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No son, no daughter, no wife. He's one. Al-Ghani. Absolute, complete, perfect, independent. Self-sufficient. Al-Ghani, He is the one who gives, who make people rich, who make people have more money than the others. He is the one who give health, give peace, give tranquility, give knowledge. Everything comes from Him, Al-Ghani. The rich, the independent, the self-sufficient. He does not need His servants. He does not need us. If all of us, since from Adam until the Day of Judgment, we were the perfect worshippers, the perfect believers, Allah does not need us. It does not add anything to His kingdom or to His character. And if all of us from Adam until the Day of Judgment disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, did not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we became disbelievers, it does not affect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you believe in Him, you are doing yourself a favor. Allah created you. He does not need you. We need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are the poor and He is the rich. In reality, in truth, we are the poor and He is the rich. Why? Because we need Him for everything. I mean, any second you can lose your life. You can lose your belonging. You can lose your health. So people, if they obey Him, disobey Him, they become atheists, non-atheists, worship something else, associate with Him something else. All of these things does not affect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because He is the Al-Ghani, the independent, the self-sufficient. And even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن تكفروا أنتم ومن في الأرض جميعا فإن الله لغني حميد. If you disbelieve and everyone else on this earth also disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala لغني, He is the rich, He is the self-sufficient, He is the independent, He does not need any of you, and He is the Hamid, the praiseworthy. The creature needs the Creator, but the Creator does not need the creature. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Ghani. So He owns everything. He creates, He sustains His creation, and His creations going back to Him. He does not just create and just let go. He creates, He sustains, and the creations come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no escape. There is no independence, a true independence in this world except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another meaning of Al-Ghani, the rich, His givings does not stop, does not runs out, does not decrease. There is no limits for His richness. Okay, there is no limits. No matter how much He gives, There's no limits. It does not decrease. It does not run out. That's why He will give you, if you are a true believer and die on true believing in Him, Jannah forever. Now, our minds cannot comprehend the word forever, because everything we know had into it. But Allah will give you forever. Not a year, 1,000, 1,000,000, 1,000,000,000, 1,000,000,000,000, forever. So that's part of this name meaning. Al-Ghani, He doesn't run out of His givings. And He does not run out of His punishment either. It's very scary. Al-Ghani, the rich, He does not accept anything from anybody if that someone associate something or someone else with Him. Okay? So, if I, for instance, want to give some money for charity, but my intentions were, I'm giving it because I would like people to say I'm a generous man. Or I'm giving it because I want a plaque, a piece of something on that wall saying that I give to this whatever organization. When you associate that, so you're not really doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not accept your charity. He will let you go with whomever you worked for. So if your intentions, people will say you're generous, people's going to say you're generous. So you've got what you ask for. If you want a plaque on the wall saying you donated this whatever for this, they will put a plaque for you because that's what you want. But if you work only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Al-Ghani, the rich that has no limit, will reward you. But if you associate someone else with Him, then go for that one and take your rewards from him. Allah will not accept your work. And that's why shirk, the associating with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is a very dangerous thing. People who dies on it, they will never be forgiven. Everything else can be forgiven. So if you associate somebody with him, he will let you go with whomever you associate with him, and he will not accept your act, because he's al-Ghani. He doesn't need you. You need him. Some practical application of this name. See, when you sit down and just think about the meaning of this name and this character is mentioned in the Quran al-Kareem, so it's from there. Alhamdulillah, all the characters and the names you're discussing in our halaqas are in the Quran al-Kareem. You do not add or take away. He is telling you about himself. Al-Ghani, the rich. His richness has no limits and his giving has no limits. Now, the practical application of this name in real life. You know, unfortunately, in this life, quite a few people think that richness is how much money you've got, how much assets you've got, and all that stuff. And when you talk to some people about what I'm talking now, they laugh at you, which is okay, which is good. They're supposed to laugh at us sometimes. If they don't, then we are hypocrites. Because there's always enemies for the truth. Because there are some people who benefit from not being on the true path. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says in the meaning in the hadith, if somebody wakes up in the morning pretty healthy, not perfect healthy, pretty healthy, you have your food for the day, and you have a little shelter, a room or a place you can sit down and go to sleep, it's like if you own the whole world. And it's really absolutely perfectly true. Because if you think about it, even if you have $10 billion in the bank, what do you need? Lunch? Your stomach is this small. You can't eat a whole lamb. You can eat a sandwich or some salad. You only have one pants. You can't wear 10 pants at one time. You only need one. One shirt, two shirts, and one side to sleep on or a chair to sit on. So this is what's the materialistic, really richness that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ described. You know, if you have these things, man, it's like you're owning the whole world. It's not how much money you've got. But the true richness in this life, it's not the money, it's not the materialistic things you have, it's not your assets. Why? Because the money, the assets, the stuff you have, there's two paths, there's two ways. There's two ways that it's gonna come to you. Number one, you're either gonna lose it or you're gonna leave it. There's no third path to what's gonna happen between us, me, and my money and my assets. Either I'm gonna leave it, which has happened when you die. I mean, no matter how rich you are, do you think they're going to bury your money with you? If they bury your money with you, somebody's going to steal it. If they're kind enough, they'll put you a nice coffin. But other than that, you forgot. Someone else get your money. So is there escape from this one? Anybody can escape? Nobody. No matter how rich you are. You can buy all the medicine you want. When the illness of death comes, it's time to check out. Billionaire, poor, president, vice president, janitor, it does not matter. You are leaving it. So this is happening. And sometimes it leaves you. I mean, we've seen presidents in this time who end up in prison. We see people who are rich and bankruptcy and end up on the street. There are some players who play, balls and stuff. They lost everything and they used to play with millions in this life. So the wealth left them, or you're going to leave the wealth. That we say the richness, materialistic. There's no third way. So it's not really true richness. The true richness is to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because when you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know this name. So you know the source of richness that never ends, never decreases, and has no limits. That's the true richness. It's kind of like, to simplify things, is not owning a dollar, but owning the bank that have the billions of dollars. But that's, so the true richness is knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and not just knowing Him. Obey Him all the way on all your aspects in life. Because if you know Him, you does not obey Him in all aspects of your life, you're still a loser. And the concept that Islam only praying, fasting, Hajj, this is a small part of Islam. Islam is a whole way of life. In all aspects of your life, you apply your deen as much as you can. So the true richness is knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be on His path. be on His way all the way. All the way, what I mean by that is that all your life is controlled by His guidance. Whenever there's interference between what you want and what Allah wants, it's always what Allah wants. So that's the true richness. Because if you are with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are with the source. So He gives these people billions of dollars. He can give it to you too. And He can give you a lot more. And He can take it away from them. And you and them are going to die. So always remember, death is a very beautiful reminder. Very beautiful. When you are too happy or you're too sad, just remember one day I'm going to die. I'm going back to Allah, the one who brought me here the first time. And also some of the characters of the true believer, the people who are really true believers, they don't really care much about what other people have. I mean, you want like a nice car, but I don't have to buy an $80,000, $60,000, $70,000 car. I'm happy with 20, 25 that does my stuff. So they don't really care much about, what kind of car you got or what kind of house or, so they don't really kind of look what other people have and say, I wish I have the same thing, or so that doesn't really enter their mind. They use whatever they can, depends on how much money they have, and they enjoy it. And the true believer knows that he is really or she is really the true poor. And we're not talking about here, kind of complimentary things, saying no. The true believer knows he is really the poor one. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the rich. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran Kareem, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ أَنْتُمُ الْفُقَرَاءُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ هُوَ الْغَنِيُّ الْحَمِيدُ. Allah is telling you, you people, you are the poor ones that needs me, and I am the rich one. You need Allah for everything. Also, some of the characters of the true believer who know this name and practice it is, you don't beg for things from people. What I mean is, not just standing outside and doing stuff, but even if, let's say, you want a job somewhere, okay, you do what's needed to be done, the qualification stuff, but you don't beg. Oh, please, I have children, I can't afford, please, no. You do it the right way, knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He wants you to have that job, you will have it, and you go in with dignity. If Allah wants you to have it, that's fine. If not, that's fine. So the true believer is poor, but at the same time very rich. He's poor because he knows he's a human being. And he's very rich because he knows that he knows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is with the rich one. The one has no limits. He is with the Al-Ghani. The independent, the self-sufficient. Again, I remind you that the true richness is not the materialistic stuff. It's if you know Allah and if you are on His way. And the true richness for the true believer is how much good deeds you have accumulated. How much good deeds. Not how much money, how much wealth, how much status in society, what people say about you, is how much good deeds with Allah that it is only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and only done in the halal right way according to Allah's way. You have to have these two things. One, if you want to do anything to be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the scholar says, You have to have two things. You can't have one without the other. Number one is your intention for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you go and work, why I'm working? To feed myself, to feed my family, to be independent, to help the community, to help humanity for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah ordered me to work. So your intentions, even when you work, even when you play with your kids, even when you have relationship with your wife, all of these your intentions for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This number one, your intentions. Secondly, you are doing whatever action you're doing according to Allah's way. Okay? There are certain way you pray. You don't start inventing prayer from your own. There are certain way you do things. Okay? You can't go earn haram money and say, I'm going to pay it for charity. It will not be accepted. So everything has to be done according to Allah's way and for His sake. And this is very important. Take us to a very important concept, is that sometimes you might come to your mind and think, okay, Allah is Al-Ghani, the rich, the independent, the self-sufficient. He have everything, so He will give me whatever I want. So, I'll just make dua and follow His way. Wonderful. But you have to work. The true believer obeys Allah twice in their life when they do things. Number one, he or she do what it takes to achieve something. Simplified with an example. You have a piece of land. This piece of land has to be taken care of to grow crops. You have to dig, you have to put fertilizers, you're going to make sure that it's watered, you get the perfect seeds, everything. These are things you have to do. Allah put these causes for you to do it. If you don't take the cause to achieve something, you are disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you want to succeed in a study, you have to study. So you have to take the causes, the ways that Allah put on this life for us to achieve something. Secondly, the true believer obeys Allah by depending on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After they took care of that land, the true believer in his mind believing the truth, that is, this land is in Allah's hands. And the crops is going to grow because Allah is going to make it grow, not because what I did. I only obeyed Allah in this life to do what needs to be done. But the reality is, when the crops grow, it's grow by the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So two things. You do the physical act, and then at-tawakkul, dependent on Allah, and this is in your brain. Okay? You thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you know that everything is going to happen by the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you do it this way, you win twice. You're going to have a good crops, and you're going to enter Jannah. The disbeliever obeyed Allah one time. How is that? They took the causes. They fixed the land, but they did not depend on Allah. So, they gain the fruit of that land only. But in the day of judgment, they will not gain anything. Okay? And that's what we see in the Western world. They invest in science and invest, and Allah gives them more power and more stuff and more discoveries. Okay? But if it's not done after depending on Allah, tawakkul ala Allah, you will gain the benefit in this life. But in the hereafter, They did not do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so you will not gain anything in the Day of Judgment. That's one of the problems some Muslims have these days is you pray, you fast, you make dua, but you don't do what it takes to become strong and powerful, like some Muslim countries, so you're going to lose. You can pray all you want. Allah says in the Quran al-Kareem, وَأَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ. Allah says, prepare for them whatever you can of power. And power, quwwah here is a general term, means science is a power, trading is a power, money is a power, building is a power, military is a power. All of these things, Allah has given us an order. Prepare for them. Don't just pray and make dua and sit. You pray, make dua and work to achieve. And that's why, we see some Muslim countries, we are way, way behind because we did not follow these rules in the Quran Kareem. The problem is not Islam. The problem is with Muslims. Some Muslims. We were the superpower before when we applied Islam. There were peace in the world. But when we put Allah's way on the side, then you see the consequences. So, just to think a little bit about this name, okay? And this is Al-Ghani, the rich, the independent, the self-sufficient. Think about death. Think about how you and everyone on this earth is going to leave what they have. Two ways. Okay? Two ways. It's not going to stay with you. Think about what's the true richness. And if you really know Allah, get closer to Him, follow His way, you are with the source of richness, even if you were the poorest person on the face of this earth. That's the beauty of the true believer. No matter what happens, he goes back to these names we've been studying. Okay, if Allah were this rich and He can give me, why I'm so poor? Only the loser will ask this question. The true believer says, Allah wants me to be this way. Why? Because He is Al-Hakim, the all-wise. He knows that this is the best thing for me, and I will take it. So either way, the true believer, rich or poor, always happy. Okay, but you have to understand Allah's name and characters, the one who told us about in the Quran Al-Kareem. And I will finish with this hadith narrated in Sahih Muslim is Hadith Qudsi. Hadith Qudsi is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam tell us about something that Allah says other than the Quran. Hadith al-Qudsi. It's narrated in Muslim, and I'm going to only mention the meanings. Allah is telling us, if the ends of the people, all the people and the jinn is the other creation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them the ability to choose, believe or disbelieve. If all humanity and all the jinn, they all gathered in one place from Adam until the Day of Judgment. How many billions? Trillions. And each one of them asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whatever they want. I'm going to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give me 1 trillion universe like this universe right now. And you can ask Him whatever you want. If all these people gather with the jinn and each one of them ask Allah whatever they want, and Allah give them whatever we want, each one of them, 1 trillion universe like this one, how much Allah's kingdom is going to lose or Allah described it as like taking a needle, that you saw, a very fine needle. Take it to the ocean and put it in the ocean and then raise it back up. And see how much water stays on that needle? This is how much His kingdom is going to lose if He gave every one of us whatever they want. A trillion universe like this one we live in. But the meaning really is not, it never goes down. But Allah has given us a small example so we can understand. In Arabic, there is these examples. What He's trying to convey to us, that whatever He has never decreases and has no limits. No matter what you ask Him. That's why one of the description in the Jannah is, whatever you want, it's always there for you. And he finished this hadith, says, after all of this, it's only what you do in this life. I'm counting your actions. If you believe in me, follow my ways, it's all written. If you don't, it's all written. So in the Day of Judgment, after I give you the choice and I give you the kindness, and you choose whatever you choose, in the Day of Judgment, when your book is given to you, if you have and find out that you did really good and enter Jannah, say Alhamdulillah. Say thank you Allah. But if you find something else, you're going to end up in Nar. You messed up really bad. Do not blame nobody but yourself. You can't blame Allah, you can't blame the shaitan, you can't blame the government, you can't blame society, you can't blame nobody but yourself. So Al-Ghani, the rich, the independence, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His richness has no limits and will never decrease. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.